Aloha, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Lisa Alexander. She is a human design coach and the founder of the Family Blueprint program. She is a mother of two, a former commercial lawyer, and someone who intimately knows what it means to live out of alignment until life gave her no choice but to change. So I just left your bio here because this is a perfect, in a way, segment. Like I love the way you say that too, the way you phrased it. Until life gave me, you, no choice but to change. So talk to me for a moment about that, Lisa. What what kind of brought you here to this very moment, and who are you in your own words? And talk to me about that change.
Mm. So I suppose if we can start by going back 10 or 15 years ago, I was actually a
Excellent.
commercial lawyer. So I worked in that industry for about 8 years and I loved it. Like I just loved the way I could use my brain. I loved the way I
Mhm.
could help people. However, I worked in really high pressure, demanding situations on projects, 60, 70 hours a week. And after a while, my body said no. I like to think, there's a metaphor that when the universe tries to get your attention,
Mhm.
it would tickle you with a feather and be like, hey, pay attention, this isn't working.
Yes.
Most of us humans are pretty cute and we tend to ignore that.
Right.
And then when we ignore that, then the universe will come along and just metaphorically like throw a brick at us to try to get
Mhm.
our attention even more. And us
Mhm.
cute humans ignore that as well. And then if we keep ignoring those feathers and those bricks, eventually, metaphorically,
Mhm.
the universe will hit us with a truck. So that didn't actually
Oh,
happen to
no.
me, but physically, I did wait until it got to that stage. I
Yeah.
ignored all the signs leading up to it. I was so out of alignment. I was just not living a healthy lifestyle. I was drinking a lot to try to numb the stress and ignore the warning signs. My relationships were failing. But hey, I was doing great at work until one day I wasn't doing great at work anymore. And I actually went into my father's a doctor, and I went into his practice to get some desensitization for some allergies that I was getting treated for.
Right.
And I had never had a reaction to them over the years I was getting it. And all of a sudden, my body just went boom. And I had a massive reaction. I ended up having a panic attack. I ended up passing out, being put on oxygen. At the same time, my stomach just was immense pain, like severe waves of pain. It kept making me pass out. And that
Wow.
lasted for about 4 hours. Um, and then speaking to my father in the days following, he said, Lisa, like it wasn't actually anything to do with the treatment you were getting. It was just your body saying you've had enough.
Mm. Mm.
And I listened, thankfully, and I
Yes.
started to implement some major changes. So I switched from commercial law into commercial management, which is a little bit less stressful. Uh,
Yes.
and positive changes did flow. Then I took up yoga and made some big changes in my life. However, after 2 years, my body and the universe still said, no, that's not enough. And some other things just came into my pathway, which led to me quitting the industry completely and turning towards full-time yoga teaching and moving from the city to the country.
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
uh, I'm really grateful for those events that took me and led me back onto the path where I'm meant to go. So from there, I taught yoga for many years, and then I fell pregnant with my first child, and
Mm.
my path detoured beautifully into more energetic work like Reiki and sound therapy, shamanic practices, and then neurolinguistics programming. Then I have had two children, and along that journey, I've done so much healing on myself, over a decade's worth of healing, plus learning these modalities and sharing them with my community.
Yeah.
And I'd come so far, but I still was just burning out. It was unbelievable, burning out. Um, and it just felt like life was like I was working against life and life was working against me.
Mm.
constantly this heaviness, even though I had such a beautiful life, it was just this internal feeling of heaviness. And there was like this clashing between me and the universe.
Mm, mm,
And then it wasn't until I found human design that I realized why. So I learned about my design and how I am specifically meant to operate, which is not how 80% of the world is meant to operate.
yeah.
Um, and then I started to really tune into that and realize why I was clashing with life. Even though I'd made so many amazing changes and done so much healing work, life and I just still weren't getting along, that we weren't clicking.
Yeah.
So now I very much focus, the last 11 years of my experience and all the tools I have, I weave those together and use human design as a foundation to offer all my tools through, because it's been the most impactful, even life-saving, I would say, because it wasn't easy to continue that
Mm,
my journey with that real heaviness of why isn't it flowing for me. Yeah,
right.
so that's where I am
Yes.
now. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love your courage, and kind of this persistent knowing that you had to change something, even the awareness of the heaviness that says something. Because a lot of people, they kind of take that as the norm. Oh, that's who I am. That's how it's supposed to be, and then they live the rest of their lives like that. But you didn't. So you kind of you knew there wasn't that it didn't it was not meant to be that way, and I absolutely agree. So
Mm.
one of the things about human design, I came across this modality long ago, twice I think. I
Mm.
know it's not so popular, and I wonder why it's not popular. But one of the things that caught my attention is that is knowledge based, isn't it, Liz? I would love to know a bit more too. Is that something that we get to know? I actually entered you on your website. You give us the opportunity, kind of, to enter our information, like the
Yeah.
birth month and everything, and then my chart just came up, and then I was looking, the description and everything. So is that what you meant? You mean really that's how it's done? It's a knowledge type of thing, and then you just know that. Yeah, I don't know much about it, so I'd love to know a bit more, please.
In essence, yes, it could be that simple. So basically, I would love to give just a brief
Mm,
background about what it
yes.
is. So it's an
Yeah.
amazing system that weaves together beautiful ancient sciences like
Mm,
astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Jewish Kabbalah, the Indian chakra
wow.
system, and
Wow.
weaves that together with modern science like quantum physics. So, based on your birth details, so birth date,
Wow.
place, and time, you will
Oh,
get
so aligned.
a
Yeah.
chart. Yeah, I'd love to know what type you are, but you will get a chart generated.
Yeah. I just want to
Okay.
leave it here so
So
we
you
can
are a
keep going. Yeah.
generator. Yeah, you're a generator, and I'll just check. Yes, so you are a generator. So that is
Happens in
so.
May. Yeah.
So, okay, there's 5 types. There's basically 5 types in the human design. So all humanity can be split into one of the 5 types.
Mhm.
And basically type means your energy, so how your energy is designed to work. So
Wow.
generators, they make up 36% of the population, and you have, if you see down the bottom, not that light beige square at the bottom, but the one on top of that, that sort of darker
Yeah.
brown square, that is called the
Yeah.
sacral center. So that, if you go down more, get
Oh,
that one
yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
that's the sacral center. So that acts like a beautiful battery that can produce this life force energy that gets
Mm.
switched on when you do
Uh-huh.
things that you like, that lights you up. And
Right.
basically, if you're using this correctly, you will have physical energy to be able to do like physical jobs.
Mm.
So not all of humanity is actually designed like this. I'm actually, you could say, the opposite. So I don't have that. I don't have that battery center that produces a lot of physical energy. So for
Yeah.
me, my purpose here is more to be the observer rather than the physical doer.
Mm.
But you, being a beautiful generator, you are here to build and to master what you love. So it doesn't necessarily mean build as in putting bricks on top of each other.
Yeah.
However, it means that if you want to like do physical things and it's a part of your soul purpose to be quite active physically, you can do that.
God, that's so interesting. That's funny that you say that about generator. And it's what about, is it just physical or has to do something with, because I'm very creative and I'm always
Yeah.
creating something. I mean, if I don't watch, I'll be creating forever and I'll just keep creating things.
Yeah.
But I was also, I have been in fitness for a long, long time, and I have
Yeah.
been a competitor. So I won first prize twice, and I
Yeah.
have been a personal trainer, and I did really well in that industry too. And I'm very active. I love doing anything active. So that makes so much sense for the physical. But when it comes to creativity, Liz, is that also connected with the generator in this case?
No. So that way you could do there'll be other things in your chart. So there's some colored lines, they're called channels. They
Oh,
have like characteristics. There's like colored dots, they're called gates. They have characteristics as well. And basically, all humans have the capacity to be creative. It will just be in different ways. But
right.
when you delve deeper into your chart and look at those channels and the gates, it will give you more insight about where your creativity will flow and how you're meant to be nurturing that flow as well. And it makes so much sense that you said that you're into your fitness and
Yes. Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful because your body, when you're in alignment, should be producing that energy that allows you to do that. My
Mhm.
body, no, I'm a projector, so projectors don't have that battery. Of course, I still have enough energy to be able to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle, and still I can do exercise, but it needs to be light to
Yeah.
medium. But I would burn out. And, even when I was working as a lawyer, being a projector is actually perfect to be a lawyer, but
Mhm.
the volume of hours, 60, 70 hours
Yes.
a week is not
Yes.
not really healthy for anyone, really.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So this is something that I can, so it's not just like you said knowledge based, it's has
Mhm.
insight, so it's very ancient and
Yeah.
has to do with energy too. And everything's is energy. So we have to be
Yeah.
aware of that.
Yeah.
So, what about the for people who? So everyone knows we can go to your website and kind of do the
Yeah.
this
The
initial
chart.
chart, and
Yeah.
then we can expand by you offer, I believe, like different kinds of what do you call them?
Readings.
Interpretation. Oh, readings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you can get a free chart, so from my website, and that will tell you what the basics of your human design.
Right.
And then if you want to delve deeper and to actually know what that means, then I can do a few different types of readings. So one of them is the essentials reading, where you just go through the basics, the foundations, which is so important. That's life changing, just that information. And then I've got
Um,
another one called Soul Connection, where if I have the client's permission, I can tune in energetically and
mm, oh,
tune in, and or quite often a past life will come through, which will give an explanation about why they've come through in this incarnation with these qualities and with this purpose. And then I can do readings for couples as well, which will merge the two people's human designs together. And it can explain so much because basically what human design allows us to see is that one size does not fit all. So
yeah.
the way of working isn't meant to be for everybody. The way of parenting, the way of being in a relationship, the
Mm,
way of doing anything, one size does not fit all.
right.
And it's we're quite sort of easier to
Mm,
control as humans
mhm.
if people try to stuff us into the same box and make us do the same thing. But I
Right.
believe that's why we're seeing a lot of things in humanity in the world,
Mm,
lots of imbalances because lots of humans are trying to do things and squeeze themselves into a box that they're not designed to fit in.
right.
So yeah, just even a
Mhm.
relationship reading, you can see how, oh, actually, just because society may say that you should be joined at the hip and do everything
Oh,
together,
yeah,
maybe that
yeah.
doesn't work. Maybe
Uh,
because I can actually see in the relationship chart between me and my husband, we are designed not to do that. So for us to thrive, we aren't meant to be joined at the hip and doing everything together. So if we try to force that, it will actually cause tension. And then we
Oh,
can do something similar for families as well. So you can do the connection of all the members in the family, and then together as a family unit, see the dynamics. And you can actually just see why maybe discipline may be challenging, or why there's tension in the household, why you just don't get along outside of the house. So it
mhm.
can explain so much, and also be really, really reassuring for people, to give them some reassurance to go, oh, that's why. It's not because I made a mistake. It's not
Right,
because I'm broken.
right.
It's just actually the mechanics of how we're designed. And as soon as we can accept that and start working with that, you can turn it into something that will help you thrive rather
Right.
than suffer.
Wow, I love that. Having this insight so we are not blaming other people and yeah,
Yes.
doing all that. It's
Yeah.
unhealthy and not helpful, right?
Mm.
So out of curiosity, what human design type would align really well with the generator? Do you know?
Oh, do you mean like to
Yeah,
in a relationship?
yeah, I'm thinking about my
Yeah.
husband now. Yeah.
You know what? There isn't a particular rule that these 2 types merge well together.
Um,
It really, the way I think about it is, what did your soul come forward to experience in this lifetime? And
uh,
then you're gonna be paired up with somebody else that has a blueprint, we call it like a human design blueprint, that is
okay.
gonna assist you. So, yeah, I'm a projector and my husband's a manifesting generator. That
Uh,
on face value, you can say, well, that doesn't work because he has so much energy. I
right,
don't. I'm
right.
very, very sensitive. He's not.
Mm,
There are so many things where you could go, oh, no, these two don't go together. However,
right.
when you look at our soul purposes, 100%, we are
Mm,
destined to be together, at least for a certain period of time, to
yeah.
bring forth that soul purpose.
So the soul plays. Oh, I see. So you bring these two systems together. Well, the soul is not really a system, but in a way, it's like what do you call that? It's really a very essential part of spirituality, isn't it? That we are spirits, that
Yeah.
we are souls, we are not only flesh. So it's, to me, that's like the basics. So wow, that's fascinating. I know you. The topic of our conversation today is human design for families, specifically,
Mm.
what it is and how it can help families. And you've been talking about it already, especially with
Mm.
kids, so people can, in a way, not just get along, but understand one another, isn't it? So it's bringing
Yeah.
love back into relationships. There's something that you mentioned that, yeah. So that you, this is not the only thing you do. You also host ceremonies, sound therapy,
Mm.
and NLP, and you do something else. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The Family Blueprint program. That's a 6 week deep dive program. So, can anyone sign up and be part of this? Is that something that it's, in a sense, we are using both brain and heart, or science and spirituality? It seems like that's what you're doing, Lisa. It's like merging,
Mm.
bringing all these two together, science and spirituality. Am I correct? Am
Yeah,
I
you're
assuming?
spot on. And that's definitely my approach, because uh, human design, not every practitioner and reader is going to come at it from a soul's perspective. Uh,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
you can actually approach it purely from a scientific perspective. I do, the way I work is, I like to consider the why. You know, why is it like this? And
Right.
why is life like this? And I do
Yes.
always view it through the perspective of the soul and the soul journey. And I do very much, I love science. I'm a big
Mm,
science geek, and I'm
yeah.
also very in tune with spirituality. So I do merge the those two, and then offer, you know,
Yes.
base my
I love
offerings on
that.
that.
I love that. Is everyone open to that? Your clients? Do you feel like they are open to merging those two aspects of life, the science and the spiritual part of it? Or some people kind of question or reluctant? I'm wondering if everybody's open to it.
Yeah, of course. Well, you know, in general, for the bulk of my clients are the ones that are drawn to me energetically for a
Mhm.
reason.
Right.
every now and then I do get a few that are a bit, maybe they prefer the science more, or maybe they've got a faith, like a religious faith, so they don't want to go to the spirituality bit. And I
Right.
can easily curate, a package or services based on them. I can definitely meet them where they are. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Oh, I love that because that's important because everybody's unique and we can,
Yeah.
a lot of times I notice we cannot use certain language even around certain
Yeah.
people. So it takes being sensitive and that's what you are. So that makes sense that you're doing this because
Yeah.
that takes being sensitive. So let me see. You shared your personal story and human design is basics. I think we talked about that too. Can you explain the Penta chart? So the Penta
Mm.
chart, is that the one that I showed here? Lisa, that's a
No.
different one.
Yeah, so the chart you showed is an individual human design chart for an individual. The Penta will merge, it basically, you can use it for families or businesses
Right.
that have between 3 to 5 people. So it will merge the chart for each person
Mm,
together. And basically, what it has is a set of energies that is deemed to be important for a family or for a business to operate
right,
together.
right.
So, for example, there's a few energies in there that if a family doesn't have it, it can explain why there's a lot of tension in the household, or it can explain why, as they get older, they just sort of disperse a bit and there's not like a real tight glue
Mm,
holding them together. And
mm,
I love doing these readings for families because it shows this is the mechanics. And for example, if you don't have that energy, that's the glue, then
mm.
perhaps as your children get older, you don't want to really, really insist that they all live in the same town forever.
Right,
You can
right,
actually work with the mechanics and support it and go, okay, well, we're probably maybe going to be scattered all over the world. Or, even when they're younger, maybe if you live in a country town, they may end up going to boarding school or something like that. So it's
right.
the inevitable that's going to happen. But learning the information through the Penta chart, you can go, this is why it's happening. This is the mechanics. It's not because I stuffed up as a parent, it's
Yeah,
actually just the mechanics of our family. And once we accept that, we can actually learn to like find a way to support that mechanic, support that energy, and then thrive in that.
oh, wow. So you call it energy. That's interesting. So it
Mm.
is human design is very much a system, a scientific system, but it's also very energetic. I see that
Yeah.
you use that word a lot, which is quite used in the metaphysics world and spirituality too. We use that word a lot. So
Mm.
and then for I would love to hear about your children. Did you do that right away? Do you know now how it is the relationship now that you know that do they
Mm.
know too? Do you talk to them about their their design, their human design, or that's something that they're not ready yet to understand?
Not yet ready because they're 5 and 7,
Oh yeah,
and,
right,
so I've known for a few years now what their designs are, and it has been
right.
so helpful with parenting, especially my son because he is also a projector. Um,
Mm.
so just a brief background about projectors. We're
Ah,
20% of the population. We don't have that battery, we don't have that lots of physical energy. And
yeah.
at the moment, the world isn't really set up for the projectors. The
Ah,
world is leading towards a world that's set up for projectors, but we sort of stick out a little bit and we feel like we don't fit. So it's been
ah,
really helpful to learn his design. Especially projected children are really interesting. They will
ah,
ask questions nonstop, and it'll be so in depth. Like he will want to know the molecular level of things. Uh, so it was
yes.
good to understand why he
Right,
does that, and for me as a very tired mother, not to try to shut that down
right.
and to bring in some coping strategies and some things to support him through that
Yeah.
seeking
Yeah.
knowledge, and
Right.
also because
Mm.
what happens is when somebody doesn't have one of those shapes in your chart, if they don't have it colored in, it means
Oh
that when they're around other people, they will feel the energy of the other person and then amplify it. So when you have a projector child, they actually usually seem like the most energetic out of all the children around because they're feeling the sacral energy of the generators and the manifesting generators and they're amplifying it. And so it's
yeah.
really good to know this about your children if they're doing that because then you can understand why. And you can also see, I never say to my son, "You're a projector. You're not allowed to run around so much," or "No, you can't do
Right,
that." But
right.
instead, because he's so
Mhm.
young, I'm still in control of his schedule and the activities he does. So I can have awareness and go, okay, after you've played that game of sport, we are going to go home and have some quiet time, rather
Right,
than thinking he has so much energy. We need to now go to the park and then we need to go ride bikes. So that
right.
has been really, really helpful. And then also, so I never say to them, you are this, you're that, you're meant to do this, you're meant to do that. Instead, I
Mhm,
have the awareness and I can plant seeds and guide them
mhm.
with that awareness.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Wow, they are lucky. They are.
Yeah.
I love that they have you as a mother with this awareness, this knowledge, and also the tools, right, to guide them.
Yeah.
Because really, is a guiding as a teacher. Um, what is the age that they would be ready to understand? The personality types, and then the human design, and then spirit. Is there an age for that, Lisa?
I think each parent just needs to assess it, case by case basis. For
Right.
my children, no, I'm not going to ever, I don't think I'm going to, it's probably
Mhm.
when they're 15, maybe when they're teenagers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because I don't want them to
yeah.
manifest things unnecessarily. So with my son, if I teach him about being a projector
Mhm,
now,
mhm.
uh, he won't have the mental ability to actually process it and see the positive. He may just hear a lot of, you can't do this, you're not meant to do this, don't do
Right,
this.
right.
And then my daughter, she's a generator like you. So she may feel like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this.
Right.
Instead, the best thing you can do for your children is
Ah.
to help them to be in alignment with their type, with their human design type, by guiding them. And then naturally, what happens when they're in alignment, all the rest of the things in their design just fall into place.
Right. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Well, I love that. So, I'm just listening to you about the generator. So it's not like we have to do all these things, right? Just because
No.
we have that energy
Yeah.
for it.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's something
Mm,
I really work with, especially when I work with generator mothers or parents in general. I
yeah.
do guide them to consider boundaries and learning how to say no and learning how to outsource, because just
Mm,
because they may have the energy to do something doesn't mean they have to. They're still human beings.
right.
Rest is still important. Asking for help is still important. Saying no is still important. So,
Right.
um, you're still a human being at the end of the day.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's a very good I mean, I was really it's beautiful to hear that. And I think I needed to hear it. That's so funny because today I woke up and I was thinking about that because I have all these creative inputs and I'm very intuitive and I have all these things and I do so many things.
Yeah.
And at some point I'm like tired, like remember those puppies? I don't know if you probably kids too, they run around and then they just flop there and they lay down on bed.
Yeah.
They're so tired of doing all these things. So that's so true, and I never realized that was that's such a enlightening thing. I'm realizing now that I thought it was an introvert and like but that makes sense. I've been doing so many things throughout my life, always doing something, and I thought, oh, that's the masculine energy, but might be the generator. It might not be
Yeah.
just because
And
I
can I offer
even
you
asked a
something?
friend of mine,
Yeah.
am I masculine? Do I behave in a masculine way? Because I did the competition thing and I looked really
Mm.
fit and I remember this very good friend of mine that I trusted. She said, no, you're very feminine. You're very kind. No, 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 no,
Mm.
no. See, because I had the misinterpretation about, I thought the
Yeah.
personality was too masculine, but it's not. It's doing, doing, doing. But that's coming from, wow, the human design.
Mm.
That's great
So,
to know.
yeah, and I love to, that's what I love about
Mm.
human design, is that instead of us thinking that we're out of balance just because society or this
Yeah, yeah,
community says that, you're not meant to be like that, we can actually
right,
find out what we are meant to be like and just
right.
go with that. And,
Mm,
for a long time
mhm.
I just thought, "Oh, I'm broken," or I'm too this, I'm too that." And then I I was always trying to be something other than what I'm meant to be.
Right.
And then when I learnt my design, I was like, oh no, I'm actually just meant to be this way. And is it
Yeah.
okay if I offer you something here?
I
A
would love. I know you're
suggestion?
very intuitive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, just
Yes.
going with generators. So every human design type has a thing called an authority, which is like an internal compass in our body, and it's the way our bodies tell us how to make a decision. So we're not meant
Mhm,
to listen to up here. We're meant
mhm,
to listen to something in our bodies called our authorities. So as a generator, you have a sacral authority, which means that sacral center, that battery we were talking about,
mhm.
that will give you like a gut yes or no. So,
Right.
you have your field of creativity, you've got the energy to do stuff. You don't have to do it all, or you don't have to do it all right now. You just
Mm,
tune in to your gut. And it may not actually be a sensation in your gut, it will just be a feeling in your body. And if you get this sensation of like excitement, that's a yes, you do it. If you don't get that
right.
excitement, don't do it. And the beautiful thing about this authority is you can check in with it throughout the day or the next day, and it may
Mhm,
change. If you got a yes one day, the next day it may say no. And that's because, it's tuned into your higher self. It has the greater wisdom of, um, maybe we're not going to do that because your higher self knows in a few days something really big is going to come through. So you need to preserve your energy. So just go with that. And I can't remember if
wow.
you had the solar plexus
Oh,
defined,
I
that's an
can.
emotional. Just have
Oh
a look
yeah,
at that.
that's yeah. I'll put it back. But this is I know you had more to say because your website. I love the way you do that because you gave more information that I could understand beyond the chart. You had more
Yeah.
information there. But yeah, you're very
Okay.
generous.
Well, just yeah, you don't have the solar plexus, which is the white triangle on the right.
Oh,
You don't have that defined, so that's okay. You would have just had to listen to your emotions a bit more if that was defined. So you have that
oh,
sacral authority. Just tune into that. Don't listen to up here. And,
mm,
you just listen to that sacral authority.
mm,
And another thing, if I may just quickly offer, your
yeah,
strategy. So every type has a thing called a strategy, which is how you make this, how you get things to happen in your life. So yours
right.
is to respond. So if you wake up in the morning and you've got this random, like, cool idea, don't just action it straight away. You just
Mm,
wait for the universe to bring you something from the outside to respond to, and you're responding with that gut, with that sacral yes or no.
ah,
So
wow.
if your gut gives you the yes, do it. If it gives you like a flat feeling or a no, just don't do it. You may still do it next week if your gut says yes. So
Ah,
this is a really great way to tune into what you're meant to be doing, get into flow. And
mm,
if you just listen to
wow.
those two things, all the other things in your chart and your design naturally fall into place.
That's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. It makes a lot of sense, at every level. I'm listening with my body, and as
Yeah.
you say, and I'm like, wait a minute, that makes sense. That just happened recently, actually. I was trying to make a decision, and then but from the mind, and then the
Yeah.
body said no. That was
Yeah.
interesting to see that the body just. It took a while, about 3 4 hours meditating and just
Mhm.
feeling it, and then said no. And then something else happened, and that's physical too. It has to do with physical things. That the body said yes, 1,000%
Mhm.
yes, and I was really
Yeah.
happy, jumping like a little puppy again. And I'm like, wait
Yeah.
a minute. That's funny how that's why I said the body holds a lot of wisdom and we needed to listen to it. And some people more than others. Yeah, it seems like I'm like that. And I'm just realizing more and more and more how powerful. Yeah, the authority that the body is. It's
Mhm.
incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you do sound heal? Do you do some healing too?
Yeah.
How do you carry that? I would love to know more about your sessions with sound healing.
Yeah. So with the sound, most of the time I work in person with people. So I'll
Mm,
work to use the instruments and some energy work to bring them back into alignment. And then online, if I work online with people, I'll usually do it through frequency therapy,
mm,
using like
yeah.
an online technologies to do that. So
Mm,
that has been something that's been so healing for me and beautiful that I love offering it to my community.
mm,
Uh,
mm,
I find it's more of a nice to have these days, though. Uh, Working with the neuro-linguistics programming to actually rewire the brain and human design to get people into alignment with who they're really meant to be are
Mm,
the things that I focus on the most. And I do it usually wrapped up in a ceremonial form because I love doing things in ceremony because it, for
right.
me, just do a simple act of drinking out of a special cup or lighting a candle, something that you don't always do,
Yeah.
signals to the mind, body, and soul, hey, we're doing something different here, pay attention. So it really
Right.
helps to ground in whatever we're doing if we do it in a ceremonial container.
Oh, wow. So the sound therapy has to do with ceremonies. And I was about to say that too. Like sound therapy and ceremonies, they go hand in hand. They really do. And thank you for confirming that because I was just thinking about it. It's funny how uh, a lot of us don't listen to the intuitive knowing, right, Lisa? It's right here. It's like so obvious.
Yeah.
It's like a sensing thing, and we know things at the
Yeah.
level of the body, and then also, of
Mm.
course, when it has to do with wisdom, relationships, relating to the world, we do know so much. But I really have a feeling also that a lot of people are kind of afraid of the power, their inner power.
Mm.
Is that something that is happening in this moment? I heard a lot of people are making choices still from fear because they are not really grounded in their inner being, the inner wisdom, inner power. And I wonder why that is. What has happened to them and what is causing them to be, in this world of fear? That's one of my questions to you.
Yeah. I wonder whether if we concentrate on what's happened for these people in this current lifetime, we've been taught to be people, to do things in a way that we're not. So we're so heavily conditioned. From the moment we come through to the earth side, we start getting this conditioning from our parents, our communities, the schooling, family, basically being told to do things a certain way.
Right, right.
And most of the time, that way does not actually suit that person. So we're so
Mm,
conditioned to outsource our decision
mm,
making abilities to other people.
right,
We're so conditioned to listen to up here or other people when we need to make a decision. We're so
right.
conditioned to doing a job a certain way or family or relationships a certain way, which probably this conditioning has been based on what may have worked 50 to 100 years ago. The
Right.
world is changing
True.
so much. So I do believe if we can start deconditioning, which human design is a very helpful thing to do because you learn where you're actually meant to be and you can see how
Mhm.
far you're deviated from that. Then with that
Yes.
awareness, you can come back. Then you
Yes.
decondition, and then you can start making decisions from like your body, from your authority, what's actually right for you. But I think
Mm,
there is a lot of fear because people, if they're so disconnected to what's in here, to what, this
yes.
inner wisdom, this inner knowing, this inner authority. And when you're disconnected from that, you have to rely on external sources of wisdom, external sources of authority.
Right.
And then when we have that coming to us, if it doesn't actually align with us, we get this feeling of this isn't right. And then that
Yes.
could drive the fear even more.
Oh,
And, I do think could even be
yes.
past lives. You've got a lot of light workers incarnating in this lifetime, I believe, to help the world to bring humanity forward to where it's meant to happen. And who knows what happened to us in those past lives when we were the healers, the seers, the
Mm,
witches. So there could also be some past life things coming through as well.
right. So there's a lot there. Would you say what is your vision for humanity? Let's say, I would say 50 years from now. Do you have a vision for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
do have a
lovely.
lot of hope for it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling because the way we've signed up for this human experience is to evolve and grow through
Yes.
challenges. Uh, because let's face it, it's hard to change. It's hard. It's
Right.
not easy to make changes, even if they're going to be positive ones.
Right.
For the most part, I feel like humans and the ego that tries to run us from the background doesn't
Yeah.
really like change. It wants to stay the same, even if the same isn't healthy.
Wow.
So I believe there's going to be a lot more turmoil and not pleasant things happening. However, from those darker experiences, light grows. So, when you think about, perhaps I invite you to think back on your life, the challenging times that you may have been through,
Mm, mm,
the growth and the strength that you developed from that, and then the positive changes that then you made to your life and rippled out to the rest of the world. So I do believe, because we are quite cute as humans and we can be a bit stubborn, that there may
yeah.
be a little bit more not nice things happening in the world.
Wow.
It would be great if we could just skip that part and go straight to evolving and stepping into our highest purpose. I don't think
Mm,
humans are going to do that though. So I think there'll be a little bit more turmoil. However, at the end of it, there'll be so much light and more
mm,
balance.
mm.
Yeah.
But that would take might take 50 years, right? Or even 100, who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it's almost like somebody said, God's not waiting. I remember somebody said it. It was not a religious person, just God as the divine force
Yeah.
said, God's not waiting. So it's not really concerned with time, because time doesn't exist, right, Lisa,
Yeah.
in those realms. So it's not about time.
Mm.
I guess I asked the question because I do see in my family, like my family members still struggling a lot with fear and all that. It doesn't matter how much I talk to them about about these beautiful things. They don't either don't listen, or they're not interested, and
Mm.
it kind of surprised me, because it feels like we also wired to want to be peaceful, right, and happy, but
Mm.
I think it's the thing about courage too, isn't it? Not all of us have the courage to kind of, answer those calls when we are
Mm.
called to make a big change and then leap and evolve in a very powerful and big way. Not all of us are ready to take that. To answer that call, it is a calling, and I say that because I know we talked off record about a calling to be where you are, and me
Mm.
being where I am, and I just 100% said yes to it. And I just did exactly as I was instructed in a way. And then life just carried me here in a graceful
Mm.
way. And I think trust is a big one, isn't it? Most people don't trust their, like you, I love the way you call it the inner authority, that inner
Yeah.
wisdom, the guide.
Mm.
Most people don't trust it yet.
Mm.
And that's it's sad. And what do we do in this case? Like, how do you navigate this realm of being around people who need, you see that they're suffering, that they need to change, but we don't want to force them to change.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that with family members, like in the case of even the program that you have? What is your suggestion for that?
Well, I'm the black sheep in my family who believes all this and does this work, while everybody else, including my husband, I would consider him to be more mainstream, and
Yeah.
I'm the hippie. Um, and
Oh.
over the last few years, I really questioned why, like, it just doesn't make sense. Why I'm in this family, why I'm in this relationship, why are we so
Tell me
different?
about it.
And I like to just
Yeah.
place that trust in it's for a deeper purpose. So, for
Yes.
example, the hippie in me would love to just go live in an off-grid community, Bali, and I'll probably be there one day once my children are grown up.
Yeah.
However, because of my job is actually to work with the mainstream people, like to work where it's needed the most. So I
Right.
believe that I'm a lighthouse who's needed in the darkest places, when you think about a lighthouse being like that. So
Yeah. That's right.
my the reason why my family is the way they are, and even my husband the way he thinks, is to actually keep me grounded in the dark places where my light is needed. So I
Wow.
do actually
Wow.
just have a lot of appreciation for them. I used to be frustrated and be like, "Mm, if they were just on board with what I was doing, we could just have this awesome lifestyle doing other things." However, now I view it from the the perspective of thank you so much for being where you're being, which may be behind where I am. However, never underestimate the power that these people have in their day-to-day lives. So, um, for example, some of my clients are men, so I don't just work with families and mothers. Like sometimes I work with men who don't have children, and they, without knowing it, they're actually the start of the new heart-based leadership in mainstream industries. So these men actually work in very male-dominated industries, and they are actually coming forth as like the first real heart-based leaders, because we do need leadership to change. It's not just in politics, and for the elite, it's in all areas of humanity. We need leadership to change, and I believe for the world to go where it needs to go, we need this leadership to come from the heart. So it needs to be from a place of what's not just good for me, but what's for the highest good of all. And because a lot of those leadership roles are at the moment taken by men, they're the ones that are going to have to like step up first. So that's my roundabout way of saying, even if somebody seems like they're not where they're meant to be, or they're not where we are, I do like to view it through the perspective of going, wow, what power do they have? Like just being who they are, and how that can ripple out. Because say the men that I work with, they're not going to quit their jobs and all of a sudden become Reiki healers. They can't do that, because then they won't be working in their industry. They need to stay in their industries. They need to start planting the seeds in the industries. They need to be a lighthouse in those dark places. So that's how I try to see through that perspective. So I not only have patience with the people around me, but I have a lot of gratitude as well, because for real change to happen, I believe it needs to happen from within the industries and structures that are deemed to not be working anymore. I don't think there's any point in everyone just quitting their jobs and leaving. Um, and because, if everyone did what you and I did, those industries wouldn't work anymore. Uh, and look, eventually, I do see these industries being totally changed. So they won't be needed so much the way they're needed now. However, humanity is not ready yet for that real drastic change overnight. It needs to happen very gradually and slowly. And it starts with the people who we deem to be behind or not spiritually aware. It starts with them like staying in those industries and making the changes that ripple out.
Wow, that is so true. That's like a billion% true. It resonates true to me, my own experience. I always wondered too, what am I doing here? Yeah, around these people and all that. But that makes so much sense. I love the way you say that too. So in a sense, by them being them, we are able to be us. It's almost like hmm, somebody said that. I remember here on the podcast. She was 1111 reader. So she's a mystic, very beautiful spiritual teacher. And she said that in a powerful way. I remember a lot of things about her because she kind of transmitted some of her energies, beautiful energies, almost like angelic energies. But there's something about her. She said exactly what you said. Said, so by you being you, I can be me. And she said that's highly spiritual.
Mm.
So that was quite powerful. I love the way you talked about Bali too. That's funny. Yeah, I have a couple of friends there.
Mm.
Yeah, that's an amazing place. Yeah.
Mm.
And for some reason, I'm not interested in Bali. And I'm wondering why. I think because it's wild. Too many people doing too many things and very, very busy and touristic. And
Mm.
yeah, and I love being quiet, I guess. But I do
Mhm.
like moving too, but moving more in my own way, like fitness, but not really like dancing half naked. That's not, I'm not that interested in that for some reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I mean, it's nice. It seems very nice,
Mm.
but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
just wanna go
Maybe
live
not.
in the jungle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But our
That
souls will be drawn to different places, yes, for specific reasons, so yeah.
right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you're very beautiful in so many ways, Lisa. I love your expression. Yeah, it's kind of very open and very spontaneous too, and genuine. I think that's what it is. Some people call authenticity, but I think just being true to you, right? That's what it is. I love that when I meet people that they're just true to what is true to them, and they can't help it but just be themselves, and then they just express, and sometimes it sounds fun in a meaningful way. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. So
But you know what? That is actually the most powerful thing we can do. Actually, I didn't mention before, that's how we can empower the people around us the most, is just to
right,
be who we are meant to be
yes,
genuine and authentically who we're meant to be. And that's what I love about human design, because it brings you home to that place. And
yes,
then that can
yeah,
ripple out to everyone else.
yeah. I'm becoming a fan of human design now, and I never thought
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, I'll look more. I'm quite busy now, but I wanted to explore more, and I will. I
Mm,
will contact you for more
mm,
exploration about that. I'd love to know more about it now. You just kind of
mm,
plant that seed, as you said. So,
yeah.
and I'm usually interested in a lot of things, but I never thought about human design. Has been a long time since I talked to somebody about two
Mm,
people only. So why is
yeah.
that not? Is that very popular, the system? Because I don't hear a lot of people kind of talking about that or
Yeah.
working with the system. I'm wondering why.
Yeah. It is just starting to become very popular.
Right.
Uh, and I believe it's just starting because now is when humanity really needs it, because we need to come
Mm,
home to the truth. We need to start, well, we need to stop operating like one size fits all. We need
right.
to, for the real changes and growth that humanity needs, we all need to start showing up in our fullest expression
Mm,
to stand in the highest potential of what we came here for. And
right.
human design helps us to do that. And for most of humanity, we're not. We're in a very dulled down, locked in a
Yeah.
box
Right.
version of who we can be. And now
Right.
humanity really needs these changes. You look around and see all the imbalance in the world and all the disease. A lot of it, I believe, is because we are so out of alignment with who we're really meant to be. And when you're out of
Mm,
alignment, you get that resistance, you get that ick feeling, and then you just start not being the best human that you can. So you
true.
see that a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's going to become. Well, I can already see it becoming a lot more popular. Even when I studied it, the my teachers were saying like, "Wow, they're booked out now with their courses," and I think
Mhm.
that's a wonderful thing. Hopefully, one day it will be taught in schools.
I know, it'd be amazing,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
can see that. I can definitely see that because also the science behind it. It's very
mm,
scientific in that
yeah,
sense. So are you I know you have a lot of offerings, Lisa. We're almost at the
mm.
end. I want to mention them. Before I mention these offerings, are you also creating a course? I'm wondering if you have that already in mind for
Yeah,
human
yeah.
design.
So
That would be
I
amazing.
do. I've got the Family Blueprint program. So
Mm,
that's the 6-week program for families. So that
right,
really, first and foremost, helps the parents to get in tune with their human design. So I guide them through that journey of learning what it is. They get their report as well, so they know, like, it's a 25-page report. They know about what their design and their blueprint is, and then I hold their hand and guide them through that. And we sit in
yeah,
ceremony, and we also, I guide them through deconditioning exercises so they can just
right,
come home to them. And
right,
then we flow that into learning about their children's designs as well, so they can learn how to support their children. As I said, not by teaching the children human design, but by actually the parents knowing the child's human design and then being able to parent them in the way that they're meant to be parented. It makes parenting a lot easier as well.
right,
And then
right,
also learning about the dynamics in the family as well, and how the energy's set up to flow. And rather than trying to resist it and force yourself into that box of how society says you're meant to be, you can actually
right.
just celebrate the way you are. So that's a 6-week family blueprint program for families. But I also
Right.
work one on one with clients as well. So we can go through a 6-week coaching package. And that doesn't necessarily have to be families or women. As I said, I work with men who don't have
Right.
children. It's
Right.
anyone who basically is, who has had enough of trying
Mm,
to fit into all the boxes, so I can guide them to unlearn how they've been taught to be, and
mm,
instead just start living a life that truly fits for them.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that message. Have you thought about writing the book too? Is that in your
No,
plan?
I haven't. No, I've been asked to write an article in a magazine. So we've just, I won't name the magazine yet, but I have been invited to do that. So that's
Yes.
just, yeah, exploring that at the moment.
That would be
Mm,
amazing too.
mm.
Because this is a great topic. I don't think I see, yeah, I don't see, I mean, it's the time to explore more, right, of these
Yeah.
topics. So I have not heard too many books about it. So you also
Mm.
have the frequency healing online, the sound healing
Mhm.
session in person, human design sessions, of
Mm.
course,
Yeah.
integrated timeline therapy. I have everything here.
Yeah.
Embodied parts integration, shamanic
Yeah.
cacao and soul alignment session, the maga
Oh, the
crown.
mega. So it's like a rites of passage ceremony for women in, like, going through that, from the age of 50. um, I created that offering because I was approached by a few women in my community that were going through menopause, and they
Mhm.
just wanted
Yes,
to celebrate that in a way.
right.
So even though
Yes.
I'm not in that phase, I'm 42 at the moment, so I'm not in that Marga crone phase. um, I am recognized for working in ceremony and
Mhm.
rites of passage. So I have offered those to women in that phase in their life, and it's been such a privilege because
Oh,
uh,
beautiful.
what they've said is, it's not celebrated. They seem to feel like they've
Mhm.
just put aside once they go into that
Oh,
beautiful phase in their life, which is something that should be celebrated for women, you know?
I know. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Almost there. I'm 48, so I'm getting closer to
Yeah,
that. Oh,
celebrate
wow.
it.
I know, I am. My gosh,
Yes,
yeah, isn't it funny the age thing? When I read that, that came to me like, oh, it's something to be celebrated, right? But I never think
100%.
about age. That's funny. I know that, the hair change, the skin change, the body change. I see all the changes, but there's
Mm,
something that's timeless. That's the
yeah,
soul, right, Lisa? That doesn't
yeah.
change. I guess I'm always in touch with that. And maybe
Mhm.
that's why a lot of times I come across like I mean for some people I guess like a kid because I'm not I love the timeless. That's what it is too.
Yeah,
Although I
yeah.
wouldn't dance half naked in Bali. I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know where you got that from because 'cause I've never done that in Bali.
Yeah, no, 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 not you, but that's the oh no,
Yeah,
no,
I
no, no, no,
know.
not yeah, that's what I know you're laughing at me. It's about the static dance, the static dance. There's a lot
Yeah.
of when you
There
dance.
is, yeah, there is.
Yeah, and they do
Yeah.
tend to kind of take everything off for some reason. And I'm like, "Oh my God, no, 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 I wouldn't do that." I'm like, "Kid, I love to play, but not that way." But yeah, when you said Bali, that's what I thought about it because I do have friends there, and they do that, all the
Oh,
time. I'm
okay.
like, "That's not for me." And you see,
No.
that's personality types again, right? Some people they're just like
Yeah.
that the dance half naked. No, no,
Yeah,
no.
one size doesn't fit all. If that fits some
Yeah,
people, that's great.
right.
Celebrate that and be okay with
Yeah.
the fact that it's not for you, you know? Yeah.
Yes, right. And then you have the belly blessings
Yeah.
ceremony. That's for pregnant women. I love that too.
Yeah, so that's another rite of passage ceremony. So working with ceremony, I really do like to focus on rites of passage because there's all these
Yes.
moments in our life that go pass us by, or they're celebrated in a way, in a modern way that don't really in tune us with what it means. So when somebody is pregnant, it's transitioning from the maiden phase of their life into the mother phase. So when you
Yes.
actually think about it, it's not just, you're having a baby, there's massive changes that happen to you on all levels,
Right.
and you're moving into that second phase of your life as a woman. So to celebrate it, I don't know about you, but in Australia, most people have a baby shower when they're
Oh yeah.
pregnant, and it's
Mhm.
lots
Yeah.
of presents and balloons and champagne that the mother can't actually drink, but everyone else
Yeah.
drinks. Um, and it just seems like to not actually celebrate what's happening for this beautiful mother as they
Mhm.
transition into that second phase of her life. So it's a rite of passage that
Mhm.
um, can really the intention you can ground an intention in of like, okay, when I go into this next phase of my life, what is my intention? and you
Mm,
can ground it in. And that's the same with the Marga and the crone ceremonies. What is this intention that I can have going into
mm,
this final phase of my life? For the crone, really embodying the wisdom that she's developed through her life, and now she's that wisdom, like she's just amazing. So embody the intention and then celebrate it.
mm. Yes, I love that though. In a lot of the indigenous cultures, here in Hawaii, of course,
Yeah,
too, that there's very it's very strong that part of almost like celebrating the older
yeah,
women, older men too, of course, the grandmothers and the grandfathers. They have, I mean, they're highly respected. So, but that you're right, and then a lot of cultures that has been lost, yeah, and we
yeah,
don't really celebrate it or even respect, right, older people anymore. We just kind of put them on the side, and
yeah,
that's kind of sad to see.
yeah.
And I
They're
love
our
that you have
elders.
that too, as yeah, the shamanic, the indigenous. That's to me that's kind of timeless wisdom, isn't it?
Yes.
Ancient, timeless. It's not even timed. So I know you have
Mm.
also private group sessions and you have events. You host events as well. So I
Mhm.
have. Did I miss anything, Lisa, about your offerings?
No. No,
Okay,
just,
thank you.
I just like
Mm,
to mention that, obviously I'm in Australia, so
yeah,
thankfully we have the
yeah.
beautiful internet, so I work
Mm,
with clients no matter where they are in the world,
mm.
and, yeah, most of my offerings can be done online, which is I'm so grateful for technology and the beauty that it can weave through for us.
Right. Yeah. And it really works, doesn't it? The energetic transmission. It's really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing how it happens. I'm so grateful for it too. That's how we having this conversation now.
yeah,
I mean, we're so far away from each other, right? In a way, physically,
yeah,
but not spiritually and not
yeah.
energetically. That's so fascinating.
Mhm,
So I want to mention your website, lisa-alexander.com.au. It will be clickable on the podcast notes. And
mhm.
for the end of the conversation has been amazing talking to you. Really beautiful. I love everything about your message, about your work, about your own experience too. I love the way you talk about your own experience with your children, with your husband. So you bring you everywhere. It's not that there's no parts, so it's not, they call it, I think, fragmented, right? So you kind of integrate it. It's really beautiful to see that, a complete full human being. So and I want to thank you for saying yes to this conversation. And for the very end, Lisa, how would you like to end? Like, is there anything that you left unsaid for this conversation today?
Not unsaid, but I would just like to reiterate that, for everybody just to never underestimate the power of who they are and the power of where they are in their particular journey. And don't
Yeah.
compare yourself to others because you have come through to be uniquely you. And once you actually embrace that, you are
Yes.
unstoppable. Like you are unstoppable. And yeah,
Mm.
just yeah, that's just tune in and be who you're meant to be.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. And I can see, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, you're saying that to yourself, and it's so true to you that comes across, to others,
Yeah,
kind of we can feel it too
yeah.
because it's true to you. I love that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much again for being you. And we'll talk again. We'll be definitely in touch again. I would love to. So I'll say goodbye for the recording and I'll talk to you
Mhm.
off record. We'll talk again.
Okay,
Bye for
sure.
now.
Bye.